Yo everyone, this is my full card recap and reaction of UFC Fight Night Magny vs Prates, and all I can say about that card is wow, this card turned out to be nothing like I expected at all. 8 finishes out of 11 fights. I don't think I've seen a card do something like that for a long time, let alone a card people were hyping up to be pretty bad. Great performances all around by many fighters, especially the main eventer Carlos Prates himself, but we're going to talk about him a little later in this video. I just want to say before I get into my recap and reaction of UFC Vegas 100 as well, I just wanted to say that I went extremely well in this card overall, and I'm very happy about how I did. I put a lot of research into this card, and I'm super proud that it all went down how it did. And also, to the left of the screen as well, are all the picks I said I was very confident in, and I'm happy that they're all highlighted green, which is great to see, which means they were all fighters that won. And something to add as well, you guys, is that you got your main event pick right again, and that's now 2 for 2 on main event, so let's keep the streak going, guys. I'll keep doing the polls, so keep voting. But for now, let's jump into the first fight of the card, which was Mullins defeating Klaudia Sygula by second round TKO. Not much happened in this fight until the finish itself. There was a long feeling out process on the feet by both fighters in the first round, a bit of a clinch and clinch reversals going on. It was until Mullins was able to get a body lock and trip Klaudia Sygula to the ground and secured top position and moved to full mount. She rained down blows until the end of the first round. She then proceeded to get the identical trip, and it pretty much sealed Klaudia Sygula's fate in this fight. She gave up her back, and there was really nothing she could do. It was great grappling by Mullins and a great win from her. That's pretty much it. We move on to Tresean Gore submitting Antonio Trocoli in the first round by standing guillotine. Man, I can't believe Antonio Trocoli tapped in front of Mackenzie Dern like that, guys. Jokes aside, great win and finish by Tresean Gore. This was another fight on this card where nothing really happened, and then he just snatched up a standing guillotine when Antonio Trocoli went for a single leg off the clinch. And Tresean Gore does have a pretty nasty guillotine, and he has a pretty powerful squeeze as well to be able to standing guillotine someone that tall, man. He got Josh Fremd in his last fight with a guillotine, so you'd think Antonio Trocoli's camp would have been pretty wary of it, but regardless, it was a great finish by Tresean Gore. We're going to move on to Blackshear defeating Cody Stamann in the first round by rear naked choke. Now, this was a super impressive performance by Blackshear. This is a perfect comeback after his KO loss to Montel Jackson, but I'm not going to lie, Cody was scaring me because he was looking quite quick in the early part of that round, and he landed a couple of decent shots, but the gap in their power and technical striking ability was way too wide. Blackshear started working his knees in, and in his last exchange, he threw a big flying knee that landed, but it was the follow-up 1-2 that landed that hurt Stamann really bad, and Blackshear just unleashed the full combo on him. Cody went for a desperation takedown, and Blackshear, after some adjusting, was able to get the one-arm guillotine to secure the first round finish. It was amazing, an amazing bounce back for Blackshear. Moving on to another crazy finish as well, a lot of those on this card by the way. Radtke KOs Semelsberger in the first round. Now, I did mention in my prediction video that it would most likely be a bit of a brawl, and that I'd favor the more well-rounded and technical striker in Radtke to get it done. I think I also mentioned his left hook was great, and it was the left hook that hurt Semelsberger initially before the right hand of Radtke really hurt him as Radtke started putting on the combination that dropped Semelsberger. Now, was this an early stoppage? Slightly, guys. I think it was slightly, but would Semelsberger most likely have recovered? Probably not. I just think Radtke would have done more damage, eventually put him out the way it was going. It was a great win from Radtke. Good stoppage, I think. And he received a performance bonus for this fight, so good on him. Moving on to Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos getting an easy KO over Scroggins. I honestly think the capoeira dance that Zaleski did as a celebration after the fight was more eventful than the fight itself. And that was saying a lot because it was a first round finish, so maybe I'm pretty crazy, guys, I don't know. I did say this was going to be an easier pick before the fight since Scroggins was not on UFC level, and I definitely didn't see him being on Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos' level going into this fight. A few kicks here and there from Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. They were hitting Scroggins until dos Santos landed a big right hand that basically just curled him up into a ball on the ground. And when Elizeu saw him like that, he just jumped on him, landed the ground and pound until the fight was called off. It was a great win by him. The guy is great overall for an older fighter in the division. I think he's 37 if I'm not mistaken, so great win for him. Keep it going. Moving on to Denise Gomes defeating Karolina Kowalkiewicz by decision win. I think this fight went exactly how I said it would in my prediction video. I thought Denise would do better in the first 2 rounds and slow down and potentially lose the third, but win the decision overall, and I think that's what happened. Gomes just landed more in the first and second round and won them pretty clearly to me, had the biggest shots and the volume too. Then it became close in the third round because she slowed down, and Karolina got her back in the third as well, but Gomes is still good. but definitely needs to work on that gas tank, because I don't know if I'd pick her to win a 5-round fight versus a lot of people in the division with good cardio. So we're moving on to Mansur Abdul-Malik finishing Dusko Todorovic in the first round by KO. Man, Dusko would not just let go of trying to get a submission with Mansur Abdul-Malik's leg. The basic rundown of this fight is Mansur Abdul-Malik hurting Todorovic with pretty much anything he's throwing, and Dusko is diving for the heel hook, but just getting blasted in the face by punches while he's trying to secure it. It's a pretty tough submission to get unless you lock it up straight away and the guy's on the ground, but if not, this is MMA. This is not a BJJ match. You are gonna take ground and pound from your opponent. This is a great win from Abdul-Malik, great striking and great takedown defense shown. Had it in his mind to secure the underhook every time he was against the cage, which I really did like. I would like to see how he does against a striker in his next matchup. That's it for that fight. We're moving on to Gillian Robertson defeating Luana Pinheiro by decision. I thought Gillian Robertson won this pretty clearly in my opinion. Won at least 2 rounds out of the 3, with some judges scoring a 10-8 in one of the rounds I heard. I don't think any round should have been scored a 10-8, but it was a decent scrap. I think that what impressed me the most about Gillian Robertson was her cardio, just to keep shooting and racking up her takedown attempts. It's not like she secured every takedown, but the activity like that is good to show the judges, and I can see you winning fights like that as well, just with that amount of activity on the takedowns. Definitely needs to work on her stand-up game though. It's not good, and she needs conviction behind her shots to get respect when she's moving forward for her takedowns. It was a great win. That's it for that fight. Moving on to Gaston Bolanos ruining my clean sweep with a split decision win over Cortavious Romius. This was the only fight of the card that I predicted wrong. Cortavious was so close to winning this fight too, and he just couldn't get the finish. Credit to Gaston Bolanos for staying in it and winning a close fight. I did think he won this decision. I thought Romius most likely won the first round because it looked like he hurt Bolanos at the end of that round. I honestly thought he could have gotten the finish as well in that round if there was a little bit more time. But Bolanos recovered well. He looked good in the second round. He looked like he hurt Romius himself in that round. Had good ground and pound. And in the third round, I thought it was pretty clear Bolanos. He was able to do more damage and had more strike volume, while he showcased some defensive grappling, great defensive grappling, and great takedown defense. It sucks because I would have liked to clean sweep the card, but great win by Bolanos. He was a sizable underdog too, so definitely makes the win even better. Moving on to the co-main event, Ryan DeRidder GM3 himself by submitting him in the third round. He pretty much just GM3'd him, guys. In round 3, he secured the head and arm choke and he put him out. You could tell GM3 did not want to grapple with Ryan DeRidder in this fight, which would be worrying for any Gerald Meerschaert fan, since you'd say, how is he going to win this fight then? He usually wins it by submitting his opponents. And I think the reason for that is that Ryan DeRidder submitted GM3 in training, and he must have known he was the better grappler when it came down to it, so he didn't want to engage with him on the ground. One thing I want to point out as well is that this fight in the stand-up was pretty sloppy. Ryan DeRidder in the first round was making Gerald Meerschaert look absolutely fantastic. The guy is not good in the stand-up. That much I can see from this fight with Meerschaert. However, he managed to work his way in with more jabs. He did some kicks, better clinch work than GM3 in the second round, and he almost put GM3 away at the buzzer at the end of that round. I thought it was over, but Gerald Meerschaert recovered big time. Then more of the same happens in the third round until DeRidder secures the submission while he was in top position. It was a great result for DeRidder, great debut, but I see him getting knocked out by someone who will exploit his stand-up weakness. It's almost guaranteed, I feel. I know I sound like a hater, but that is the cold hard truth about the level of stand-up skill. His grappling looks solid though. Great debut result. Moving on to the main event, Carlos Prates brutally KOs Neil Magny in round 1. I knew Prates was going to KO Neil Magny, but I thought he missed him with the KO shot completely, and then I just see him out stiff on the canvas. So I had to wait until the replay was shown, and on replay, it was a pretty nasty grazing blow that took Neil Magny out. And that just goes to show how different Prates' power is to the rest of the division. It's sad to see Neil Magny like that, but his game is just definitely declining. And against these tough prospects with good takedown defense, you just can't fight the way he fights. I think they're just too hard to beat unless you have the speed and explosiveness advantage over them to secure the takedown easier. And what's next for Prates, guys? I see him fighting either MVP or Jeff Neal. Definitely not the Jack Della Maddalena call out that he had. He's just a bit too far up the totem pole for my liking. Both the Jeff Neal MVP fights would be great matchups, maybe even a Wonder Boy fight if he comes back and is recovered by then. And that's pretty much all said and done for that fight, and that's it for my recap and reaction to UFC Vegas 100, everyone. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like and a comment in the comments section below. just to support the channel, support me guys. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time.